Hi everyone, welcome back to Design Craft channel. Today I'm bringing back one of my old crochet videos, this time with audio instructions to guide you along. We'll be crocheting this adorable unicorn together, and I hope it helps you crochet it more easily. To work on this project, here's what you'll need to prepare. We'll be using 4-ply cotton yarn. You'll also need a 3mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, some stuffing material. Once you have everything ready, let's start from the bed. Begin by making 5 chains. For round 1, start with a chain 1. Then insert your hook into the back bump of the second chain from the hook, which is our foundation chain. Work 4 single crochets. In the last chain, work 3 single crochets all in the same stitch. Now you'll reach the other side of the chain. Insert your hook into both loops and work 3 single crochets. In the stitch where you made your very first single crochet, work an increase. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. For round 2, start with a chain 1. Then work 1 increase in the first stitch. Followed by 3 single crochets. Next, work 3 increases. After that, make 3 single crochets. In the last 2 stitches, work an increase in each stitch. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. By the end of round 2, you should have a total of 18 stitches. For round 3, start with a chain 1. Work 1 increase in the first stitch. Followed by 4 single crochets. Next, work 1 single crochet, then an increase. Repeat this sequence 2 more times. After that, make 3 single crochets. Then work 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and repeat this sequence 2 times. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. By the end of round 3, you should have a total of 24 stitches. For round 4, start with a chain 1. Work 1 increase in the first stitch. Now we'll crochet the ear. Start by making 5 chains. Then skip the first chain from the hook. Insert your hook into the back bump of the second chain from the hook and work 4 single crochets. This forms the base of the ear. Next, continue along the body. Work 5 single crochets. Then 1 increase. And 2 single crochets. Repeat this sequence 3 times. After that, work 3 single crochets and 1 increase. Now it's time for the second ear base. Make 5 chains, skip the first chain from the hook, insert into the back bump of the second chain, and work 4 single crochets. Then work 2 single crochets, one increase, and 2 single crochets. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. By the end of this round, you'll have 30 stitches around the head. Each ear has 16 stitches, but these are not counted in the total head stitch count. For round 5, start with a chain 1. Work 2 single crochets along the head. Now we'll crochet the first ear. Work 3 half double crochets followed by 1 single crochet, then 2 chains, 1 single crochet, 3 half double crochets. Next, continue along the head by working 22 single crochets. Now for the second ear, work the same pattern like the first ear. Next, continue along the head by working 6 single crochets along the head. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. By the end of this round, you'll have 30 stitches around the head. For round 6, start with a chain 1. Work 1 single crochet, followed by 1 increase. Next, skip the ear section and continue straight along the head. Work 6 single crochets, then 2 single crochets and 1 increase. Repeat this sequence 3 times. Work 7 single crochets along the head, again skipping the ear. Now work 1 single crochet, 1 increase, two single crochets, 1 increase, and finally 1 single crochet in the last stitch. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. By the end of round 6, you should have a total of 36 stitches. For rounds 7 to 9, we'll keep it simple. Start each round with a chain 1, then work 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Finish the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. For round 10, start with a chain 1. Work 33 single crochets, then 1 decrease and finish with 1 single crochet. Slip stitch into the first stitch to close the round. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 35 stitches. For round 11, start with a chain 1. Work 6 single crochets, then repeat the following sequence 6 times. 1 single crochet followed by 1 decrease. Next, work 8 single crochets, then 1 decrease, and finish with 1 single crochet. Slip stitch into the first stitch to close the round. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 28 stitches. For rounds 12 to 14, continue following the written pattern. By the end of round 14, you should have a total of 18 stitches. For round 15, start with a chain 1, work 1 increase, followed by 5 single crochets. Repeat this sequence 3 times. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 21 stitches. For round 16, start with a chain 1. Work 2 single crochets, then switch to blue yarn to make 5 half double crochet puff stitches. First yarn over and insert the hook into the stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Repeat yarn over, insert into the same stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop 4 more times. At this point, you should have 11 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook to complete the puff stitch. Then, chain 1 to secure the puff. But remember, this chain does not count toward your total stitch. Switch back to white yarn and work 1 increase followed by 3 single crochets. Switch to blue yarn again. And make another set of 5 half double crochet puff stitches. Securing with a chain. Again, this chain does not count in the total stitch. Next, switch back to white yarn. And work 2 single crochets. One increase, then 6 single crochets. One increase, and finish with 3 single crochets. Slip stitch into the first stitch to close the round. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. These little puff stitches, they're the cute little legs of the unicorn. If you notice your little legs are slanting, I highly recommend using the X stitch. It helps keep everything straight and neat, so your character will look much more balanced and adorable. For round 17, start with a chain 1. Work 3 single crochets. When you're working with these puff stitches, skip the chain that secures the puff. It doesn't count toward your total stitch. Then 1 increase followed by 1 single crochet. And repeat the following sequence 4 times. Skip the chain that secures the puff. It doesn't count toward your total stitch. After that, work 13 single crochets along. Then slip stitch to the first stitch to close the round. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 28 stitches. For rounds 18 to 20, simply work single crochet in every stitch. This helps shape the body evenly and keeps our little character looking neat and smooth. For round 21, work the back leg. Start with a chain 1. Work 3 single crochets. Then switch to blue yarn to make 5 half double crochet puff stitches. Secure the puff stitch with a chain, but remember, this chain does not count toward your total stitch. Switch back to white yarn and work 8 single crochets. Then continue following the pattern for the rest of the round. By the end of round 21, you should have a total of 28 stitches. Once you finish the back leg, you can cut off the blue yarn and hide the tail. This keeps everything neat and ready for the next part of the project. For rounds 22 and 23, just follow the pattern as usual. Remember to skip the chain that secures the puff stitch. It doesn't count toward your total stitch. Next, fill in polyester fiber until the body is nice and full. Finally, for round 24, work 7 decreases, then cut the yarn and fasten off. Your little character's body is now complete and ready for the next step. Next, let's work on the tail. Start by making a knot in a magic ring. Then work 6 single crochets into the ring. Pull the yarn tail tight and slip stitch into the first stitch to close the round. For round 1, start with 2 chains, then work 3 half double crochet puff stitches in each stitch. When you're done, slip stitch into the first stitch to end the round, for a total of 6 puff stitches. For round 2, start with a chain 1. Now we'll work 60 creases, but this time it's a little different. Insert your hook into the chain that secured the puff stitch before making the decrease. Slip stitch to close the round, then cut the yarn, leaving enough yarn tail for sewing later. Sew the tail on the body around round 19 to 20. Next, let's work on the signature unicorn horn. For this part, follow the written pattern using yellow yarn. You can choose to make a slip stitch at the beginning and end of each round if you prefer a neat finish. But if you'd rather work continuously, that's totally fine too. Both methods work well for the horn. Now, sew the horn onto the head, positioning it around rounds 2 to 4. Take your time to center it nicely, then secure it firmly and hide the yarn tail inside. Next, let's work on the hair. Start by making 25 chains. For row 1, skip the first chain from the hook, then insert your hook into the back bump of the second chain. Work 24 single crochets along the chain. Cut the yarn, leaving enough yarn tail for sewing. Repeat this same piece using 2 more colors. Here I'm using blue, yellow, and pink. Once all 3 strands are done, twist them together gently to create a cute spiral. Then attach the hair onto the head and secure it neatly. Next, let's crochet the little cute wings. Start with blue yarn and make 6 chains. For row 1, skip the first 2 chains from the hook, then work 1 half double crochet, two single crochets, and finish with 1 slip stitch in the last stitch. For row 2, switch to pink yarn. Pull the blue yarn tight to secure it. Then turn your work to the back. Start with a chain. Work this row in the front loop only, then make 3 single crochets and finish with a half double crochet increase. For row 3, switch to yellow yarn. Pull the yarn tight to secure. Turn your work to the back. Start with 2 chains. Work this row in the front loop only. Work a half double crochet increase. Two single crochets. And finish with 2 slip stitches. Cut the yarn and leave enough tail for sewing. Make another wing with the same pattern, so you have 2 wings in total. Sew them on the back of the body around round 15 to 16. Finally, use brown yarn to embroider the eyes on round 5 and 6. And there you have it. Your little unicorn is all done. So cute and colorful. You can mix and match colors for the hair, wings, and horn to make it your own. Perfect as a toy, keychain, or a gift for someone special. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other crochet fruit and animal tutorials. Happy crocheting and see you in the next video.